What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
All right, bright and early on a Saturday morning, it is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there. Hope you guys are having a good start to your Saturday. It is week 2 college football. A rainy one at that. Had the past few days here in South Louisiana. It's pretty much been the rain dance. Who did the rain dance over the week? Got all this rain around here from Wednesday, Thursday to Friday. Possibility of rain as well in the forecast for today. And it is the Pete Richardson Classic here in Baton Rouge for Southern University versus Savannah State. Chance of rain today. I'm looking at the forecast right now between maybe 2 and 4 o'clock. So just in case you want to grab those rain jackets, rain boots, just in case for a little while as this thing comes in and pushes out. Cooled off outside as well this morning. 71 degrees here in Baton Rouge. It is very cool. Thank you. I'm glad. Finally, I'm not sweating for no reason. So glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to everybody watching us on our YouTube channel. Shout out to you guys. Hey, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not. If you're listening and you're watching, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't take anything but your love and support. Hey, the subscribers are going up. What I'm saying must be working. It's a few at a time, but nonetheless, it is working. So for all of you guys out there, even if you're listening on radio, just go over to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. Hey, that's all I ask for, your love and your support of what we do here on Saturday mornings and broadcasting this show here at the Jaguar Journal. That way, if you miss any part of the show or the segments, you have an opportunity to go back and watch it. And as well as on our Facebook channel as well. Follow us at the Jaguar Journal. Hit that button and keep up with us there as well. A lot of extra stuff occurs there. Sometime last week I did a live with Jim, my man Blue, BJ. We kind of broke down some things around the game last week, and the same thing that we're going to do here. But you get a little bit better opportunity to talk to us and get filled in with us. And then also got a big show for you guys today. My man Joshua Sims Jr. going to come on and talk to us from HBCU Nightly, as well as Stephen Gaither. He's going to come on, talk to us from HBCU Game Day. We're going to look on the other side. Hey, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Pete Richardson. Guess what? Today is the Pete Richardson Classic, so it's going to be great to have a conversation with him. And then my man Kevin Baptiste from WAFB. Of course, we have to talk about the Southern versus McNeese State game last week. And I know you guys are going to want to talk about it too. And I'm also giving away tickets for today's game. So if anybody calls, you want to go to the football game today, just give me a call today, 225-499-1073. And I'm going to see if I can hook you up, to get to the Southern versus Savannah State game today for the Pete Richardson Classic. I hope you guys will enjoy it. I'm looking to enjoy it as well. We got a long show, and I want you guys to stick with me. Southern falls short on the road last week to McNeese State, 21-7. And if you want to call in at any given point and talk to me about it, you're more than welcome to do so. 225-499-1073 is the number, 225-499-1073. You can talk to me about the Southern game last week versus McNeese. You can talk to me about the Southern versus Savannah State game happening today. And as well as you want to go to the game, I got tickets for you. So you call in, I'll hook you up, get you over there so you can be able to check out the Jaguars and help cheer them on as we try to push everybody into the stadium on this cloudy, overcast, cool, for once, Saturday as we're heading into week 2 of the college football season. And I'm excited about it as we continue to move forward, not just for Southern, but just overall. NFL's got started on Thursday. What a hell of a game between the Ravens and the Chiefs. Came down to a very last play. Just when they say it's a game of inches, literally it is a game of inches with the toe just barely touching the white and taking away a touchdown in that game. And the Chiefs were victorious last night. The Eagles and the Packers played. The Eagles got away with a victory right there. And then as we look into Saturday, today, big games, right? You got LSU with Nichols today. Then tomorrow the Saints come on at noon. So I know everybody get your livers together, right? Start hydrating throughout the week. That's the way that we're going to make it through these weekends. We just week 2. We got to make it all the way to November and December. So get your livers together. That means hydration, hydration, hydration. Even when we doing the Friday night lights, right? Last night I officiated a game. We get a hydration break at 6 minutes. Everybody needs one. The officials, the coaches, the fans, the teams, and you need one as well. So be sure to hydrate as we continue to push through. I want you to make it into the game, right? I want you to survive the entire weekend so when you get ready for work on Monday, you can shake back just a little bit better as we get from that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because, of course, in South Louisiana, football is God. We worship football. We enjoy it. It gives us a reason to come together and have a good time. And for many people across the nation, it's the same way. So I'm glad to have it back. We're in week 2, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to keep things moving. And as we keep it moving, about to get ready to take a break, and we come back on the inside, my man Joshua Sims Jr. from HBCU Nightly will talk to me about what happened in Miami last week between North Carolina Central and Alabama State. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Danny Johnson, first and foremost, outstanding young man, great character, great young man. Can't say enough about him. Great father. You always see him, hanging around with his son and spending time with his son and his family. As a player, I can't say enough about him. He has all the athletic ability that you would want in a kid with playing corner, the footwork, speed, all the intangibles.
I have a good work ethic. It's been a lot of times, in the off season, I just push myself to go work out. Even if nobody else was out there, just to get an extra push when we get back into the season. Because I always want to have that edge over everybody else. So, it's just that mindset that I have. I want to be one of the best. So, I got to push myself. If anybody else does. And it's like a lot of stuff that I want to do with my son that I can't do because I'm playing ball. So my biggest return to him is just, having him come to games on Saturday. He can see his father play in front of, thousands of people. It makes him happy. So whenever he's happy, I'm happy. But just when I get the chance to just go home and, hear everything, he's been doing in school and, what he likes and doesn't like, it just brings me back to that fatherhood of just being around him, and that's what I like to do. I put academics over football because, I can't play football forever. At some point, I'm going to have to rely on that degree. So, that's my biggest thing, and that's one reason why I came to Southern, to get that degree. So I set myself up to where I'll be able to graduate right after the season. So if football doesn't work out for me, I can always come back and go to grad school. So, education is a big thing for me.
Danny Johnson put Southern University on a, national stage. Obviously, everybody knows about Jag Nation and Southern University, but you'll see Danny Johnson playing on Sunday one day, and he'll be able to be an ambassador, for the university.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal. All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there listening around the capital city area and around the state of Louisiana. We're on Talk 107.3. Good morning to everybody on our YouTube channel. Be sure to go hit that subscribe. Hey, it's the button. It's simple. It says subscribe. It's the Jaguar Journal. Hit that. We love to have your love and support. We don't need your social security number. I don't need to know how many kids in the household. I don't need to know any of that. I just need you to hit that button so you can go back and be able to watch this show just in case you miss any of the segments like the one we're about to have coming up, and as well as everybody watching us on our Facebook Live. Good morning to you. Glad to have you guys with us. And as we continue to keep this show going, man, got a very special guest today on the show. First time here, my man Joshua Sims Jr. Good morning, Josh.
My brother, good morning, man. Happy to be on, man.
Hey, good to have you. Hey, if anybody doesn't know, he is an Eagle. He is flying high after that big win last week. He's from North Carolina Central as they took on Alabama State. And this was a game in which I had in my top 5 of HBCU football starting the season. A lot of people high on Alabama State. They were predicted in the SWAC, SWAC Football Media Day to win the SWAC East. They had the addition of Andrew Body, who transferred over from Texas Southern. You look on the other side for North Carolina Central, right? Davius Richards, their Mr. Do-It-All, 4-year starter, 2-time MEAC Offensive Player of the Year, was no longer there. Then they bring in Walker Harris, who had been a part of the program. What they say, hey, trust the process, wait your turn, and Walker Harris did that. And then last week in that game on ESPN, North Carolina Central gets the victory 31-24. In this ball game, North Carolina Central went 4 of 10 on third down for Alabama State, 4 of 12. 270 total yards for North Carolina Central, 119 in the air, 151 on the ground. On the other side for Alabama State, 291 total yards, 88 passing yards, 203 on the ground. 2 turnovers in this ball game. One was very costly. Really, both you could say were costly. One for a pick six, and the other basically iced this game away for Alabama State. And then you look at Walker Harris, ended up finishing the game 9 of 18 for 119. But I think everybody, Jamari Taylor, 24 carries, 128 yards, rushing for 2 touchdowns, as well as he added 2 receptions, 18 yards, and 1 touchdown. And I think when you look at Andrew Body on the other side, now this is the question mark, and you and I, Josh, are going to talk about this. Everybody was kind of up in the air on how they used him, but nonetheless, you saw what he was capable of doing with his legs. 15 carries, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Josh, you were there in Miami. You saw this thing unfold. It looked like North Carolina Central was going to run away with this after they went up 21-0 in the second quarter, but Bama State found a way through the legs of Andrew Body to get back in this thing.
Yeah, they did, man. you look at that game early, man, and it's a tale of unfortunately, it's a tale of discipline. In this game, man, been around this game a long time, played this game a long time. Penalties will end up derailing any game that has momentum, especially when you got a game that was that close, man. It was 21-0. It felt like the entire building was really honest. It felt like Alabama State fans and that sideline was like, okay, we probably got about one more possession before we get ready to fold. On that pick six, you see a penalty call for unsportsmanlike conduct, on unnecessary roughness, and short field on the kickoff. And to Alabama State's credit, they capitalized, man. They take that kickoff return back to the house, that ensuing kickoff return back to the house. It's 21-7, and you literally could feel the shift inside the stadium, Barry. I mean, I feel it most of the time. Most of the time I'm inside the stadium, I can feel it. I can feel when momentum kind of shifts a little bit. 21-7 happens right there. Central gets the ball back. They go out. They go 3 and out. And Alabama State then goes down the field on the legs of Andrew Body. They go down the field. They score again. It's 21-14. And you just kind of feel, everybody is like, okay, hold on. But respectfully, as it pertains to North Carolina Central, man, that defense, one of the other stats that I've talked about this week is the amount of sacks that North Carolina Central was able to force. That defensive line for the last few years has been a question mark. Just about everybody who has a show that talks about HBCU football, that talks about FCS football and college football in general, has talked about North Carolina Central's defensive line being somewhat of an open wound. And respect to that group, man. Respect to defense coordinator Courtney Cord and what he's been able to do as far as developing that defense line. And so I genuinely think the difference between this game, we can talk about how well Andrew Body really ran the ball, but how they misused him through the air. And we know that the young man has the ability to throw the ball, but just didn't get the chance. But I think this game was, as we always see in college football, was won and lost in the trenches. And so we ended up getting the result that we got. But, man, was it a really good game, man. It felt good. Some parts of that game, man, I had my hands over my eyes. I can't even lie, man. I had my hands over my eyes. I was worried.
Not you. Not you when the Eagles
right?
playing, man. Come on. Let me ask you this.
Hey,
Trey
look.
Oliver, we know him very well here in Baton Rouge before he went over to North Carolina Central to take over his alma mater. He was the defensive coordinator here. Before here, he was at North Carolina A&T. I don't know how you feel about that, but now he's at North Carolina Central, and he's running things. Man, what's your thoughts on him and what he's built with that program with the Eagles?
Yeah, man. Coach Oliver is, I refer to it, and inside of our program, we have different levels of how we refer to and how we address different guys that play before us. Some guys, as it pertains to me, I played at North Carolina Central from 2009 to 2012. So every single guy that played maybe 5 or 10 years ahead of me, they're a big brother. So Courtney Cord, a big brother. He's our defense coordinator at Central. A lot of those guys, Dre George, who's one of the position coaches on the collegiate level as well. I think he's at Shaw, big brother. Actually, he was my first position coach at Central. When I got to Central, I played DB first. And then you start getting past that 10-year mark, and you start looking at guys like Dawson Odoms. You look at guys like Sean Gibbs, Adrian Jones, who's the head football coach at Shaw University. You look at those guys, and then you look at Trey Oliver, and we call those guys OGs, our big homies, the guys who really laid the foundation, man. And you look at Coach Oliver, and you look at the pedigree by which he comes from, man. Played for Coach Larry Little, NFL Hall of Famer, was a pivotal piece for the Miami Dolphins, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Then he comes back to Central and coaches for the great Rob Broadway. And, he actually started at Central, man, as a position coach at Central under Coach Broadway when he got to Central. And then, just follow with Coach Broadway down there. And his coaching tree is, without question, man, everybody knows Coach Broadway. Went to the school down the highway for a little minute.
The school down the highway.
Hurts are hard, Pete. Hurts are hard, man. But went down there and accomplished some great things. And I think between him and Coach Gibbs, I believe Coach Gibbs has the most HBCU national championships as a position coach than any coach in the entire country. And then I think Courtney Cord and Trey Oliver are right behind that. So Coach Oliver, man, is a student of the game, man. Really is a general's general as it pertains to this program, and has really built this program. And he took the humps and the bumps and the bruises, man. You had a conversation with him about year one, and he would flat out tell you he was almost ready to run himself about the building. His mom and dad went to Central. His family went to Central. He's North Carolina Central through and through, maroon and gray through and through. And so he didn't like how it was in his first year. But you look at those years subsequently after, have delivered an HBCU national championship, a MEAC conference championship, perennial top 25 in FCS, man. This is without a shadow of a doubt, man, what I believe to be one of the best head coaches in all of college football.
You know, got about 2 minutes left before I have to go to a break, but it feels good to be an alum and stick your chest out and have your coach as an alum and be able to read out those accolades. I know it does, man. I was there to watch North Carolina Central back when they took on Grambling in that second Celebration Bowl, man, and that was a hell of a matchup. And it was crazy enough that they lost that game because of a penalty due to celebration at a Celebration Bowl, which was very interesting in that game. But nonetheless, man, I actually have North Carolina Central's game today versus Elon as my game of the week on the FCS level. I think both teams were right there knocking at the door of missing out on the top 25 FCS poll this week. Elon last week taking a tough loss to Duke, and then you guys getting that big victory over Alabama State. But that game against Elon today should be a big one, man. How you feeling about that one?
Feeling good, man. It's a good opportunity for us to welcome the Phoenix back to O'Kelly-Riddick Stadium. 6 o'clock kickoff tonight, man. Nighttime at OKR. You cannot ask for a better environment. I will say this, North Carolina Central's defense, again, looking to send a message. But those running backs there in the backfield for Elon, they are the real deal. Looking forward to welcoming them inside of OKR as well. And then Khalil Baker coming back. Coach E, the defensive coordinator for Elon, coming back to OKR for the first time since he took over as defensive coordinator at Elon. It's interesting, man. There's a lot of game storylines that are involved in this game. It should be a good one, man. Hope everybody has their popcorn. It's going to be a good one.
All right, my man, Josh, before I get ready to go to break, tell everybody where they can find you, man, and keep up with you.
Absolutely, man. First off, Pete, thank you for having me on the show, man. You know it's always a pleasure. Brother, that's a brother from another mother right here, man. You guys can go to hbcunightly.com/watch to watch every single episode we have. HBCU Nightly Live, our flagship show, is on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central. You can also follow us on all social media platforms at HBCU Nightly. And then, man, just come and have some fun with us, man. Come check us out, whether you're on YouTube, whether you want to live stream and watch us directly from the site. Come have some fun with us, man. We love to talk ball, but it's family. It's family-oriented, man. So, P, again, man, thank you so much for having me on. And everybody that's listening, man, hope you guys had a great time listening to me and my brother P chopping up about football, man.
Hey, it won't be the last time, man. As we continue to go through football season, I'll definitely have you back on, man. And we'll continue these conversations about all things when we talk about FCS, HBCU football. And so, man, good to have you on this morning. You guys make sure to go follow HBCU Nightly across all platforms. Keep up with those guys, man. I've always enjoyed the conversation and everything that you guys embody about bringing more to our HBCUs, man. So thank you for coming on this morning, Josh.
Thank you, my brother, man. See you next time. Talk to you guys next time. Have a beautiful day.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side. My man, Stephen Gaither of HBCU Game Day. We're going to talk Division 2 HBCUs versus FCS HBCUs this weekend. It is a lot of it happening across the landscape, so you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. Stay more to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket. And his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingrams. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket. And his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver Hayes makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes. Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. 3rd down. 20.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Hope you enjoyed that previous segment. We're talking North Carolina Central with their big victory over Alabama State over in Miami at the Orange Blossom Classic. But now we move over into week 2. Interesting matchups when we look across the landscape of college football, particularly on the HBCU levels. This week we had the Division 2 HBCUs versus the FCS HBCUs and some interesting matchups. And within those interesting matchups, rekindle some old rivalries that you have of some of these teams that have known each other for a very long time. And so I thought nobody better to talk about this, especially with his school with a rivalry game happening today, than my man Stephen J. Gaither of HBCU Game Day. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Perry. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Can't complain. It's a beautiful day here in North Carolina, so it's finally here.
All right, let's get started as we talk about this HBCU FCS versus Division 2. A lot of these teams know each other very well. Let's start with your very own Winston-Salem State taking on North Carolina A&T today. This should be an interesting matchup. Winston-Salem actually won the last time these two teams played back in 2010. And you guys rekindled this, and as I've been seeing on social media and all around, this is something, no matter if it has not been played in quite some time, this still holds near and dear as a rivalry between both these programs.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Perry. You know, this is something that the two schools are separated. They're one county over, right? Literally 30 minutes, literally the next county over. A&T is a little. I mean, I've been doing some studying on just the two schools. It goes back even to the founding of the schools. You know, back in 1891, A&T was founded as a land-grant institution, and so they were trying to figure out where it was going to be. It started in the basement of Shaw University in Raleigh, and Simon Green Atkins, the man who would go on to found Winston-Salem State University, was part of a bid to try to get it to come to Winston-Salem. It eventually went to Greensboro the next year, and then he founded Winston-Salem State after it did not go to Greensboro. So this goes back, and North Carolina A&T, and since then, North Carolina A&T has become the largest HBCU. They're kind of if you ask people outside of North Carolina about an HBCU in North Carolina, they're going to say North Carolina A&T because of that. So over at Winston-Salem State, we kind of live in their shadow a little bit, to be honest with you, and that's nationally and locally as well. So it's, so nobody wants to live in the shadow of anybody else. Those guys think they're you know, they know they got a little bit more resources and things like that. So it's a fun rivalry because you know, for sure it's kind of like they kind of feel like they're our big brother, and we despise that title. So it's you know, and there's you know, family lines, and so there'll be husbands and wives that will be divided, you know, all of that good stuff. So it's cool. Like I said, we haven't played each other for 14 years because of various reasons. And so now, like I said, people are very excited about it. They just sold out last night. It's only their fifth non-homecoming sellout since 2000, and 4 of them have been against Winston-Salem State. So, you know, they kind of let you know how excited people are about the game.
You know, as we move forward, we're talking about that matchup, A&T now in the CAA, and then they taking on Winston-Salem State. But then let's move over to the MEAC, an interesting game. Norfolk State, Dawson Odoms, 0-2 starting the season. Lost that 1-point game in the MEAC SWAC Challenge to Florida A&M, and then last week taking on Eastern Carolina. Of course, the money game, you know who walked away with that one. But they're taking on Virginia State. Virginia State came into Norfolk last year and walked away with a victory. What do you see in this matchup today with Norfolk State trying to regain themselves, get that first victory of the season, and also reclaim a victory from last year with Virginia State stealing one?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you know, again, 2 schools that this goes deeper than sport. And so, you know, last year, you know, since the 2 teams have, since, you know, Norfolk State went to the MEAC in the late 90s, you know, they've had, you know, the more dominant record. But, you know, every once in a while they'll lose to to Virginia State. And so last year was one of those situations. Last year, Virginia State started off really well, being Norfolk State. I think they started off maybe 8-0, and then they kind of let the wheels fall off a little bit, and you know, didn't even make it to the CIAA championship game. So, you know, they will be looking to make a statement win, coming off of a win against the defending SIC champions last year. And we saw them in Norfolk State against FAMU. They have a potentially potent running game, but you know, they'll be trying to get their face back from last year when they coughed it up to the Spartans. So, you know, it should be an intriguing matchup.
We move over into the SWAC, and now here it is. You look at Miles and Alabama State. Alabama State coming off that tough loss last week. Both quarterbacks for them are out today, and so I believe they're going to be starting a freshman quarterback at Alabama State, Eddie Robinson Jr., that tough 31-24 loss against North Carolina Central at the Orange Blossom Classic. But they welcome in Miles College. Miles, just like I talked about with Virginia State, stealing one from Norfolk last year, Miles went into Montgomery and stole one against Alabama State. What do you think of that matchup today? And is Alabama State in trouble with both quarterbacks being out and having to go to the bench to a freshman?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely very intriguing. I think, you know, even, you know, prior to, you know, the loss of Andrew Body and last week, I think a lot of people were interested in this matchup just, you know, because of what happened last year. Obviously, you know, the loss of Andrew Body, tragic. You know, everyone hates that happened to that young man because of the level of talent that he has and just, you know, him fighting back from last year. And so not only to lose him, but to lose the other young man that started as well. You know, it's definitely going to be putting a lot of pressure on the shoulders of the freshman quarterback. You know, again, especially with last year. I mean, honestly, the last 2 years, even back in 2022 when Alabama State, you know, managed to win the game, it was a tight game, and that was a year that Miles only won one game. So, you know, it's one of those things where this one necessarily doesn't have quite the history and the athletically of the other two we talked about, but, you know, competitively, the last 2 years, again, it has been competitive. They've split. And so, you know, if you're Miles, they come on from a loss to a really good, you know, Division II program over in West Alabama. And so they'll be looking to get their face back as well. So it's, yeah, I think they're coming confident. They're going to come in feeling like they belong. And they're probably not going to be intimidated by the atmosphere. And I think it's definitely going to set us up for potentially, you know, another really great game, close ending at the end.
Staying within the state of Alabama, now we move up to Huntsville, and Connell Maynard, who right now has the longest tenure as a head coach within the conference, And I think of any team, of any coach right now, when you circle hot seat, this may be the beginning of something that's really starting to heat up. And when you look at him, they're taking on the Kentucky State Thoroughbreds today. Connell Maynard and Alabama A&M have to shake back from last week's loss to Auburn. Where do you see this matchup today against Kentucky State up there in Huntsville?
Yeah, if you are Alabama A&M, this is the game for you to try to get some of those points back that you lost last week. You lost by 70 last week. You're playing a Kentucky State team that dropped last week they jumped out to a 7-0 lead against Virginia Union, and then they let them score 69 consecutive points. So if you are Alabama A&M, you want to go out there, you want to get every kink imaginable that you have in your bag. You want to get it out against Kentucky State. You want to dominate. You want to make everybody feel good that, hey, last week it was just Auburn. They playing an SEC team. What do you expect? But you got a D-2 opponent, and they're not Miles. They're not Virginia Union. They are, a team that, is looking to still find its identity. So, this one should, again, doesn't have necessarily the same, historic ramifications. It's just pretty much a money game, just like last week when, Alabama A&M was the victim. Now Kentucky State is on the menu.
Yeah, I mean, let me jump back real quick before we get into the next two games in the SWAC. You talked about Virginia Union. They're taking on Hampton today. Hampton I like really well. I was a fan of Christopher Zealous, who their quarterback, but unfortunately he has turned into a turnover machine for Hampton. But I love that running back, Elijah Burris. He has missed the do-it-all for them. Does Hampton get past Virginia Union today?
Man, it's going to be tough. I think out of all of the HBCU games, this one and Miles, I think either of these people would probably be the least surprised if they happen to pull an upset. Again, Virginia Union, Hampton go back. They're both founding members of the CIAA. So they go way back to private schools in Virginia. And, of course, the two teams met back in 2019 during the early reign of head coach Dr. Alan Parker at Virginia Union. And Virginia Union came away with the win back then. And they weren't nowhere near the powerhouse that they are right now. And so, they're going to come in feeling super confident. Again, they scored 69 points consecutively on Kentucky State. They do, you look last week at Hampton's loss to Morgan State, and they were gashed with the run. And so, you got, if you're Virginia Union, you got Jada Byers, who, he's now become, I think, the all-time leading rusher in Virginia Union history. He had a 2,000-yard season, nearly a 2,000-yard season a couple years ago, and he ran for like 220 yards on like 11 carries last week. So a very capable running game there. D2 team, but they have a D1-ish offensive line, and so this is going to be a really intriguing matchup. I don't think anyone would be shocked if Virginia Union came away with this win.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked as well. Hampton would have to rely heavily on Elijah Burris in this ballgame. Hey, Stephen, you able to stick around for just a second? I got to get ready to take a break.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss. And a nice catch. Ricks on the 1st and 10. Little draw play. Takes it outside. He's got the 1st down.
But Ricks going to take it up the middle.
All right, we are back. Good morning to everybody that's listening out there in the radio land around the capital city area on Talk 107.3 FM. Good to have you guys with us. And everybody watching us on our YouTube channel, be sure to go hit that subscribe button. Love to have you guys support right there. And everybody watching via our Facebook Live, go hit that follow button. Follow us on the Jaguar Journal Facebook page. Good to have you guys with us. Very special guest, my man Stephen Gaither of HBCU Game Day. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning again, Perry. What's going on?
Hey, nothing much, man. And before we get back into it, man, me and my man Steven, as much as we're having this conversation now, when Steven first got started, as he was just creating HBCU Game Day and getting it out there to the huge platform that it is today, man. Steven, I remember, man, you and I, we would just be on the phone and record those calls and just go through our weekly SWAC games and man, just making it happen, man. You remember those days?
Yeah, no doubt, man. I definitely do, for sure. Appreciate you, Perry, for sure. Back in those days, it was not as easy to keep up with everything that was going on in the SWAC, and it wasn't, it was a whole different world then. So, for sure, it was great to have you on there, be able to give that perspective as, the platform is, beginning to spread its wings. So definitely, man, always, anytime you ask me to do something, definitely try to make sure that I make time for that because I definitely appreciated that from you. So, yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's time is flying. That's been in like 13 years, so
dang,
it's like 12
man.
years now. So it's getting there.
I try to tell people, man, I just didn't fall into this space with Dion like a lot of people, man. I've been around the same way you've been around, man, and it's been love to watch your platform growing to what it is today, man. You sticking with it, turning that dream into a reality, man, and continue to push. At first, it was kind of like Division 2. Then you moved on looking for somebody mostly on the SWAC side, being away from SWAC country, man, but able to make this thing work. And, man, it's love watching the platform and what you have today and what it has grown into. And we're talking about the SWAC. Let's keep it going. Lane College taking on Jackson State today. The Lane Dragons. I remember Lane back in the day. UAPB used to play this team a lot, which is my mom's alma mater up there in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Used to play this team a lot. These two teams know each other well before UAPB joined the SWAC. These two teams played each other a lot, but they're taking on Jackson State today, a Jackson State team who took on ULM last week and having to try to find their first victory. What do you see in this game?
Yeah, I think this game is a lot like Alabama A&M. and Kentucky State, obviously Jackson State, did not get the blowout that Alabama and A&M got last week, but they took on ULM, and they had their chances. They were close, and they were in the game early in the second half, and I got a chance to watch a little of that game. Some of the play calling, I know a lot of folks weren't necessarily happy with the play calling, felt maybe it was a little bit conservative, and they kind of played not to lose instead of playing to win. They ended up, being on the wrong side of what could have potentially been an FCS upset. So, they feel like they probably let something get away there, and that they have a better, foot to put forward. So I think for them, they're taking on a Lane team that, a couple years ago they did knock off Tennessee State. I don't expect that to repeat this year, but I do. If you're Jackson State, I think you definitely want to do what you can to try to open up the playbook. Just get it in live action against someone else. Because again, there was a point where it's kind of you expected the offense to maybe evolve and take a next step, and you didn't necessarily see all of that in game one against ULM. So I'd be really interested to see how T.C. Taylor and his guys. I think if you're going to try some stuff, I think this is the game to do it, and should be interesting.
Got about 4 minutes here, Stephen. Historical matchup up in Grambling, Louisiana today. Tuskegee taking on Grambling State, two programs who understand what it means to win and to win championships. I would have loved to see this game in the early 2000s when both these teams were at the top of their game, at the top of the used to be the Sheridan broadcast poll. You remember those days, man? Both these teams every time were like 1 and 2 right there competing. But today, this matchup, far cry from what these programs once were, but nonetheless, it's still happening for the first time up in Grambling versus Tuskegee.
Yeah, like you said, this is a situation where, for so many years, those have been, two of the premier programs, two of the iconic programs in HBCU football. Obviously, and I think both of them, and it's crazy, I don't know why they were never able to get it together and play. But I think they're both kind of mirror images of each other in a way, just because, it's been a while since both of them have won a championship. I think 2017 for Tuskegee and 2017 for Grambling State. And both of these schools are used to, winning championships, if not back to back to back, at least every couple of years. And so, we're now in 2024. You're talking about 6-year droughts for both of these schools. So it's definitely two proud fan bases. Don't know why it took so long for them to get a chance to play together besides that Division I, Division II tag. But I expect that, the whole will be electric this week. They're looking to get the Mickey Joseph era started off correctly and, really, launch into what they hope will be, back to contending for the SWAC championship. And I think if you're Tuskegee, last week you took on Johnson C. Smith, another D-2 team with the opposite kind of pedigree of yours and in your own classic, and they came in and kind of really gashed them on offense. So they gave up nearly 400 yards of offense last week to Johnson C. Smith. So if you're Grambling, you got to kind of look at, I'm sure they have looked at all those things that, Johnson C. Smith had success with and said, hey, we should be able to do it. This same thing, if not better. So, Tuskegee's got his work cut out for him. It's going to be very interesting to see how that game goes. Last year, Tuskegee did take on Alabama A&M, and that was a blowout. Traditionally, Tuskegee does fare, pretty well against FCS foes, but I think the difference between last year and this year, that was kind of the middle of the year. This is still early in the year, and they should be fairly healthy. So we'll see if it's a competitive game and if Tuskegee can work, come out of there with a win and some extra money in their pocket.
Stephen, I got 1 minute for you real quick. Southern versus Savannah State. I had to say the best for last for the Jaguars, right? Southern versus Savannah State, Shannon Sharp's alma mater. Sure, he probably won't be in Baton Rouge today, but I'm sure somewhere he'll be paying attention. What do you see with this one? Got about a minute.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is kind of probably one of the more just, no history really, just a chance for, Southern to take on a D2 team and, kind of, again, work the kinks out as well. Savannah State had a couple years where they were really strong coming out of the MEAC and back into the SIC, but, they're falling back into the pack, and so they're just going to be they're going to be holding on to save face. I think if you're Southern, you want to win this game handedly, and if you're Savannah State, you just want to be competitive and live to fight another day.
Steven, my man, who has the best chance for upsets in D2 HBCUs over FCS this weekend?
Man, I love to save my Rams over the Aggies, but I'm gonna go with Virginia Union over Hampton, and then secondly Miles over Alabama State.
Steven Gaither of HBCU Game Day. Steven, let the people know where they can find you and keep up with you, my guy.
Yeah, no doubt about it for sure. HBCUGameDay.com every day, all day. And follow us on all the other platforms as well. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, HBCU Game Day, and then me, Stephen J. Gaither, on Twitter.
I appreciate you coming on, man. Hey, good to have you, man. Good, enjoyed the conversation, brother. Thank you for coming on this morning, man. And I'll be talking to you. Won't be the last time you be on as the football season continues.
No doubt about it. Appreciate it, man. Peace.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side. I'm about to try to wake him up, but if I can get him up, ladies and gentlemen, the Pete Richardson Classic today, so nobody better than talk to the namesake of the Classic, Mr. Coach Pete Richardson himself. So you guys stay tuned. Go run to the bathroom, get your coffee. Don't worry about it. I'll be right here. So you make sure you come back, all right? Come back. Let's take a break. Jaguar Journal.
Southern was a little late to the game of football. They had started earlier in the CIAA up at Hampton and those schools up there. And when J.S. Clark became president of Southern University in 1914, he had already visited the Tuskegee and these Howard and the other schools, and they had a football program. And he wanted to compete with them, not just in the classroom, but also on the football field. So it started as an intramural. We had intramurals when we first came in 1914 through 1916, 17. And then the intramural program evolved into the varsity, into the football program in 1918. Coach Big Charlie Holmes from Colorado State, he came here as an assistant coach, but he took over around 1922, 1923, and he did very well through the early 20s. But he came up to 26. He broke even. He was expected to do well, and 27. I don't find any records where he won any games there, and he was replaced. But the person he was replaced by was a legendary. Name is Bryce Union Taylor from the University of Southern California. Out there, he had been an All-American. He was the guy that stopped the four horsemen of Notre Dame, and then he went to Chaffin University in South Carolina at 27. In 1928, he became the head football coach at Southern University and athletic director, and he really put Southern on the map. He had a lot of firsts. First of all, he had the first All-Americans we had came under him. Therefore, he had the greatest winning percentage in Southern University. He won 85% of his game here, and he had our first undefeated season in 1931 when he was 7-0, and but he was not declared national champ, but he was considered for that. But he was our first great coach during that early period, Bryce Union Taylor. We don't want to forget him. Arnett W. Mumford, he's a national icon in coaching. He had coached 10 years in Texas, Jarvis Christian, Bishop, and Texas College. But the last 5 or 6 years at Texas College, he was very, very outstanding. He won 2 SWAC titles, and he had won a national black championship at Texas College and 35. So therefore, Southern was interested in getting him here, and Dr. Felton Clark was very instrumental, the person to get him here. But his impact it goes much further than Southern University and State of Louisiana. He won 12 SWAC titles, 10 of them at Southern and 2 at Texas College. And he won 5 or 6 national black championships. And also, he was very successful in the first interracial bowl game, the Fruit Bowl in San Francisco in 1948 when he played San Francisco State, and he won that game decisively. But his influence extended much further than the boundaries of Southern University. He was recognized nationally as a great coach. His winning record, well, he didn't coach over a period of 35 years, and a couple of those years they didn't have teams because of the war. But he won 246 games, second only to Eddie Robinson with his 402 game over 55 years, I should add. And so always had loyal supporters, and they would follow the team everywhere they would go in large number. So Southern became the team that everyone loves to beat, loves every Saturday. It's the toughest game we have every Saturday. So if they don't win another game, they figure if they win the Southern game, they had a good season. And because we carry a large crowd with us everywhere we go too, so a lot of people like that. And we like to brag about how good we are. And of course that helps out. But it is a vista to the university, using the football athletics period to use that way to introduce the university to people who may not have known the university. Went through a period of 20 years, 30 years, I believe it was, after Mom, till we got Coach Pete Richardson in 1982, 83, and then he returned us to the glory years. Rivalry with Grambling has always been there because it's an intrastate rivalry. And we played Grambling a few times before 1948, but after then, we didn't play them anymore until we became a member of SWAC in 1959. But FAMU filled that void with Jake Gaither and A.W. Mumford. Those were some of the greatest games that you ever would see, and they became our main rivalry after 1948. But the exposure that the biggest thing that we can say about the rivalry is that the Bayou Classic, coming to Bayou Classic in 1974, was the biggest thing for any of the HBCUs. First of all, we played in Tulane Stadium in 1974, the first game, because the Superdome was not.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Saturday. A little cool out there this morning, but as we continue to keep things going, I want to thank my man Joshua Sims Jr. coming on from HBCU Nightly, talking to us and recapping about the Orange Blossom Classic last week. Hell of a game between Alabama State and North Carolina Central. My man Stephen Gaither Jr. talking to us about, guess what? None other than the big matchups across HBCU football this week, and that's HBCU FCS versus HBCU Division 2s. Plenty of games going on, and one is today, Savannah State versus Southern in the Pete Richardson Classic. And good morning to everybody that's watching out there on Talk 107.3, listening to us on Talk 107.3 around the capital city area. Good morning to everybody watching on our YouTube channel. Good to have you guys with us. Hit that subscribe button if you have not become a subscriber. And for everybody watching on our Facebook Live, good to have you guys with us. Hit that follow button on our Facebook. And as we keep today going, nobody better, right, than the namesake of the classic of the very game that I'm asking you guys to come to today, because I'm giving away tickets to, guess what, the Pete Richardson Classic, and I'm glad to have him here on the show. Good morning, Coach Pete Richardson. Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Uh-huh.
There we go. Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. And yourself?
Doing good, man. Good to have you on with me this morning. Beautiful day to have a game named after you. A lot of success here at Southern University. I want to just start, first of all, give you your flowers while you're here, and I believe with having a game with your namesake, you have to tell me, what does it feel like to have at a school you had a lot of success at, much success, in which they still can't forget it, coaches. It resonates within generation after generation after generation of Jaguar fans are saying, man, Pete Richardson, the Pete Richardson days, the golden era of Southern University football. But to have a game with your namesake now as the first home game of each season, how does that feel, Coach?
Well, it's exciting about having an opportunity because I was in charge of a great program, outstanding school, and they had some outstanding football in the past. And Dr. Spikes gave me an opportunity to come in and coach, and I realized that they had played in the SWAC, had some outstanding players come out here, and of course, there's nothing like the fan base on Saturday afternoon when you come to a Southern football game.
nothing like a fan base on a Saturday afternoon at a Southern football game. You're like this dad that spoiled all his kids, Coach, and that's what you did to the Jaguar Nation from the moment you stepped foot on campus in '93 and helped this team become a championship program, a team of the '90s, and then coming into the 2000s. You have won, and really not just won championships, you won the hearts of thousands of people across the nation that ultimately became Southern University Jaguars. I'm one of them, Coach. I remember being too young to actually make it to the Bayou Classic and having to watch that game on television, and the legendary battles between you and Coach Eddie Robinson down in New Orleans, man. You're the only coach to never have lost to him, and considering all the success that he's had, you're the second all-time winningest coach in Southern University history behind A.W. Mumford, in which the stadium bears his name. And so now you got A.W. Mumford Stadium with the Pete Richardson Classic on Pete Richardson Field. What was your thoughts when you realized, when you started to find success at Southern? I know you're in the moment, right? You're coaching, you don't really see it, but at what point when you got to Baton Rouge, did you say, man, I got something special here?
Well, I realized that, I watched the game, Grambling and Southern, the year before, and I came to New Orleans and was down in that area. And I also had a brother that was up in this area, and I had an opportunity to come to a football game. I realized that the fan base was outstanding, and of course, playing on national television, I think it's second to none. I thought that it laid the groundwork for the HBCs throughout the country, and people realized that the HBCs had some outstanding football players.
5 Black College National Championships in your day in 1993, 95, 97, 98, and 2003. 5 SWAC championships in 93, 97, 99, and 2003. But you also found success at Winston-Salem before you came here. 3 CIAA championships in 88, 90, and 91. And you won the division from 88 to 90. All the success that you had, your overall collegiate record is 169 victories to 76 losses, 1 tie. For you, with that success, who do you contribute that to over your career in terms of what you learned and how did you learn your philosophy as a coach?
Well, first of all, I started playing Pop Warner football in Youngstown, Ohio, and had an opportunity to work up through the ranks, played junior high school and high school football. Then I went to the University of Dayton. I had an opportunity to play with Buffalo Bills for 3 years until I messed up my knee. Then I started coaching. I think that that's the thing that you have to. It was a learning process, and of course, I had some outstanding assistant coaches along the way to have the opportunity to go out and learn the game. Plus, I had the opportunity also to go to a lot of the national conventions throughout the country and talk to some outstanding coaches.
You talk about those outstanding coaches. Give me some of those guys who coached you as you came through the ranks, legendary guys who you learned from.
Well, of course, I started in high school. Jim Parisi was a coach, outstanding Pop Warner coach, and I worked up through Youngstown South, had some outstanding programs from that aspect of it. And, of course, I went to play for John McVay at the University of Dayton. And, of course, Wayne Fonts was a defensive back that played in the professional ranks. So I learned the details of it. But the thing I learned more than anything else is that, you have to have some outstanding people around. Those individuals they also have the same type of inspiration that you have towards the game and wanted to try to improve your program.
Once you got to Southern, you began to win, and you begin to win the hearts of the thousands of Jaguar fans. The nation starts to show up. They support you on the road, at home. When did you realize this fan base was the real deal once you got here, Coach?
Well, I think I realized it was the real deal because I had watched the Bayou Classic 2 or 3 years before on national television. And I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to come down. Dr. Spikes, and I met her at a meeting that I was at, and I came down. Of course, I had a brother that had worked at Southern University for a couple of years before I came down, and had an opportunity to be able to see them play on national television. But you understand the fan base. The people with football is excited in this area, and the people are really committed to have an outstanding program because they traveled with us regardless of what we went at throughout the country following Southern University.
Was it the food that got you, Coach? Did they get you
Well,
with
not
the
only
food?
not only the food, but I think in this area they have some outstanding high school football players.
Yeah.
There's enough for everybody, and I think that a lot of times you have to the programs are there and get some good assistant coaches and develop those athletes. And of course, everybody wants to play on national television anyway. So you get to the opportunity to get those individuals, and they get excited about your program and want to aspire to get on national television.
Coach, I want to ask you this because this is kind of like closure for me to understand. Towards the end of your career at Southern in 2009, did it seem like the game maybe was evolving or changing? What was going on towards the end of the career once you were here at Southern?
Well, I think at the end of the career, I think we had a down year, and the people were excited about playing. And, of course, at that time, you realize that you had some athletes that, we were real thin on the offensive line. And, of course, going into the year, a couple of those individuals got hurt, and, and then it came out what it was. But those players understood that the people around is going to come watch you play, and they're committed to have an outstanding program, and they like to travel throughout the country.
And now you're now on the radio broadcast, the live broadcast on the Jaguar Sports Network for the ball games, you along with Chris Powers. Last week, now this is where, you go from coach, now you're the analyst. And so now I got to go to the analyst because I do the same thing. Coach, last week, Southern versus McNeese State, 21-7. Southern found themselves for 3 quarters up 7-0. Never could quite add on to that. A blocked field goal, right off the back of the lineman, went about 40 yards the opposite way. A botched punt goes right over the punter's head and gives McNeese State short field position. For you, as you analyzed this game and called it live on the broadcast, give me your thoughts on last week's game and Terrence Gray's first game as a head coach of the Southern University Jaguars with a tough road loss against McNeese State.
Well, I think that you look at Southern University's team, I think they have the opportunity to have an outstanding football team. Unfortunately, they found out that they have to play 4 quarters. They made some mistakes, special teams going into that 4th quarter, but they showed that they have some outstanding football players on their team, and they made some mistakes. And I think that if they can take and learn from that, because you can't bring that game back, the only thing you can do is cut down on mistakes and get ready to go for this week.
Talking about 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Special teams really broke down. And when you play in those teams, particularly like the McNeese or the FCS world, they wait on you to make mistakes. And when you do, they capitalize. You look at special teams, Coach, what would you say to a coach in his first year in order to try to alleviate those issues and fix those problems quick, fast, and in a hurry?
Well, I think what you have to do is that first of all, you have to explain to them that, hey, we played against an outstanding football team, was very competitive, and it's a learning process you have to go through, but you have to play for 60 minutes. And I think doing that, and that'll bring the attention, because I think they have some outstanding football players on their team, and they have to learn from it and be able to go this week, because now you're starting to play at home, and that's the first game, and people are really excited about this program, especially the direction that Coach Graves can take this program.
Defensively, I think was the bright spot last week. You look at Southern's defense, Kelby Givens, who was the preseason SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. You look at Davin Cotton right there in the middle. And I, myself personally, along with Jim Kleinpeter, we had circled Southern secondary. Southern secondary, at some points last week, you kind of see receivers got past them deep down the field. The quarterbacks for McNeese just could not make those passes on the money. But overall, Southern's defense, I think, gave them the best opportunity to win last week. When you look at that defense, what was your takeaway of seeing what you remember during your days of calling it that dog day defense?
I think defensively, they have some fine players on defense. It's just a matter of developing that chemistry. And, of course, when you look at their secondary, I think all 4 of those individuals wasn't at Southern University last year, had very little playing opportunity, and they gave up some big plays. And I think that you can't give up big plays, especially against a fine program. because, like you said, they wait around, you make a mistake, boom. Also, and I think the game was lost there in the first half. I think they got down on the goal line or close to the goal line a couple of times and didn't get any points, and eventually it's going to come back to haunt you at the end of that game.
And then you're talking about come back to hunt you and getting down to the red zone and not being able to get any points. Noah Biden throws an interception on a costly interception on the drive for Southern that was moving them the right way. Southern's run game, when you look between Kendrick Grimes and Kobe Dillon, didn't quite get off the ground. Not 100 yards total for the day, rushing the ball. And Southern's offensive line, when you look at these guys drop passes from the receivers, what's your thoughts on Southern's offense as a whole, with you being a guy that knows that very well?
I think offensively they have to get more consistent. I think, first of all, Coach Frederick is going to try to establish the running game. That's his philosophy, and to set up the play-action pass. But anytime you have an inexperienced offensive line, because they lost good offensive line players off that line last year, those are the young individuals that are going to have to develop. But I think that as the season goes on, they need a confidence game getting into that, just making sure that a lot of times you find a lot of players think they're outstanding players until they get humbled. And now, all of a sudden, now it's just time to play football on your level and get ready to go.
Coach, I got to ask you this because you've done this many times throughout your career. What do you say to a team to stay focused against what you would consider a lesser opponent in a Division II team? But what do you say to keep these guys focused to say, hey, don't take anybody lightly. This team could come in and upset us if we don't watch out?
Well, I think what you have to understand is explaining to them that you think that you have an outstanding program and you're going against a lesser, but a lot of times, a lot of those programs have some outstanding athletes also. They just don't have enough of them. A lot of them have transfers, especially the transfer portal that came into effect, and they can pull some outstanding athletes. And a lot of those individuals, I was looking at some of the players they had on their team last night, and a lot of them are not freshmen or sophomores. A lot of those individuals are juniors and seniors. And anytime you get those individuals that have already been involved in the game in football, and they get an idea that they can win, then they have to take it to them in the first quarter to establish the presence of what type of program they're involved with.
Coach, I got to ask you real quick. When you was at Winston-Salem today, they have a big game against North Carolina A&T. You coached at Winston-Salem, man. What is that rivalry like when you look at those two programs, Winston-Salem State and North Carolina A&T?
Well, it's nothing like it. I think those two schools are probably around 40 miles apart, right down the road, and it's almost like the Bayou Classic. You go into it, and regardless of what happened last year, when you take families that went both places, brothers and sisters. Some of them went to A&T and some of them went to Winston. And come Saturday, everybody's excited about playing, and it's a huge game and a big rivalry, and people are excited about that game.
The Pete Richardson Classic today. This is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Coach Pete Richardson. Coach, you gonna be around today? You gonna interact with the people, or you going straight to the press box? What you doing?
Well, I think that I'm gonna try to get there so I have an opportunity to interact with the players. I mean, with some of the fans, because a lot of those individuals meant a great deal to me. Regardless of what we played, they always was backing me, and it also gave me an opportunity to meet some of them. And also, some of our ex-players will be at the game, have an opportunity to talk to them and their families, and I'd be excited about seeing some of them.
Man, I'm excited just to have you on this morning. You are a legend. You are a guy that the people love and will love forever. Your name will forever be right there ingrained in Southern University football. Many generations have come, and many will continue to know the great and the legendary Coach Pete Richardson. Coach, glad to have you on today, man. I hope to see you when I get out there, man. As always, love you, and thank you, Coach, for joining me this morning.
I really appreciate having the opportunity to talk because I mentioned before that I think Coach Graves is going to do an outstanding job. He's going to work on those corrections. Of course, when you have a number of them, not of them is going to be corrected overnight. It's going to take some time, and I think be patient with him because he has a fine football team, and they're going to get it together.
Coach, let me ask you this. What would be the idea of Winston-Salem State versus Southern for the Pete Richardson Classic in the future? Would that really make this thing come full circle?
Well, I think any time that you have a coach that coaches both places, and I have a huge fan base back in that Winston-Salem area, and of course, I don't know what team I'll pull for. I'll pull for both of them. Hope both teams can win.
Man, Coach, thank you for coming on this morning. Love you, man, and I hope you have a great day. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'll give you a call once I get out to the stadium and see where you're at, see if we can go find some food, man, and hang out a little bit.
Okay, I'll see you this afternoon sometime.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get ready to take a break, everybody. We'll be right back on the other side. My man Kevin Baptiste from WAFB. We're going to talk about today's ball game, Southern versus Savannah State, and break it down a little bit for you guys. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More to Jaguar Journal.
Darius Skelton has really had this wave of momentum for Southern.
Yeah, first-year player in this program. I love his decision-making. He makes quick decisions, particularly when running the run-pass option game. That's his specialty. He's been an impact for this offense since he took over as starting quarterback.
Well, Darius Skelton is a dual-threat quarterback. He can throw the football. He's very good at throwing the ball down the field. We're going to work on this spring those intermediate passes, but down the field, he's one of the better down the field passes that I've seen.
Play action, Skelton going for it all, has a man, and hauling it in is Hunter Register.
And then when you talk about running ability, he has running back capabilities. He can go the distance. He has the speed to go the distance. He has the power, and he has the vision. And I think when you put that with a dual threat quarterback, I think he's the reason why we're so happy about this coming season.
Skelton feeling the pressure. Skelton eludes a couple of tacklers. He's still on his feet. Oh my! Little shake and bake juke move, baby.
Being a quarterback, man, it's not easy at all. It was hard being here and having the expectations to be the starter and not being the starter. It was overwhelming. Like, I was ready to play, and not playing when I was ready to play just made me kind of look at life differently and really think, should I be here or should I not? And I talked to God, and he just settled me down, and he told me to be patient. That's what I did.
Skelton, who started the last 6 games of 2018 for the Jaguars. They went 5-1. Their only loss to Alcorn State in the SWAC title game. Taking the jet sweep, and Skelton awfully good with his leg. Blitz. Register, the receiver at the bottom of your screen. Nice grab. All who have had an impact here in the year lowing. Southern still. Skelton comes up for the 3rd time. Taking the jet sweep, he'll keep it. A good lead block as he cuts it to the outside. The fake to Ben. Skelton will run. And dragging with them for a few yards. Darius. The time, stepping up into the end zone, has registered. Flag down, catch made, touchdown, and it's actually first quarter yards. Southern 121, McNeese 40. Fresh set of downs as we begin the second quarter, and looking deep, Skelton for Register.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in. All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's show as we keep things rocking and rolling. Man, I want to thank Coach Pete Richardson for coming on and talking with me. Hey, I'm giving away tickets. If you want to go to the game today, all you got to do is give me a call at 225-499-1073. Don't have me going to the game by myself. If you want to go, give me a call. Let me hook you up. But as we continue to keep this thing going, guess what? Got to talk about today's big game, the Pete Richardson Classic, in which it bears Coach Richardson's name. It is Southern versus Savannah State. And who I have to talk with me about that game today is going to be my man, Kevin Baptiste. Good morning, Kevin.
Hi, Perry, and everybody else listening.
Hey, turn him up a little bit for me so I can hear him. Kevin, can you hear me?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you very well. Good morning, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm sorry I couldn't make it into the studio today. Right now, I'm in the midst of my recovery
from a night of high school football. The rain came down last night, so I'm trying to rest my legs before I got to run up and down the sideline again later today.
Man, who you telling? You know, as an official, I was stuck in it last night. You talking about running. I was doing a lot of running last night, Kevin. You weren't the only one, man. Get up this morning, man. Come on.
Hey, like I said, I'm not a morning person, but for situations like this, I can still make some things happen. So I got no problem hopping on the phone and talking to Jaguar football with you.
All right, let's jump over to last week's game, Southern University versus McNeese State. McNeese gets the victory 21-7. Southern University in this ball game, 16 first downs to McNeese 13 first downs. Southern University goes 7 of 18 for third down conversions. McNeese State on the other side, 7 of 16. Also, McNeese 1 of 2 on fourth down. You look at Southern total yards in this ball game, 198 total yards in this ball game, 132 passing, 66 on the ground. On the other side for McNeese State, 272 total yards, 108 in the air, 164. Both teams penalized. McNeese State penalized 11 times, Kevin, for 118 yards. For Southern on the other side, penalized 10 times for 95 yards. And a lot of turnovers in this one. 5 total turnovers, 3 for Southern, 2 by way of fumbling or costly interception in the corner of the end zone. And for McNeese State, 2 turnovers, 2 by way of fumbles. Southern University led this game in terms of time of possession, only by 3, 31-28. But on the other side, you start to look at Southern for this. You look at Noah Biden, 12 of 26 in this ball game, 116 yards, 1 interception, no touchdown. T-Set comes in late in the fourth quarter, goes 1 of 3 for 14 yards. Kobe Dillon, 14 carries for 51 yards. And Kendrick Grimes, 11 carries for 31 yards. Noah Biden also added 13 yards off of 6 carries. And then you look at Dupree Fuller, 4 receptions, 36 yards coming from the tight end position. On the other side for McNeese, I think we all was looking at Clifton McDowell in this ball game, but we saw McNeese make a quarterback change in this ball game. Clifton McDowell going 1 of 4, only for 28 yards, but he became key when those turnovers happened for Southern in that short field position in the red zone. Clifton McDowell then gets 10 carries for 65 yards and adds in 2 touchdowns. It worked best for him in short yards position. Kevin, when you look back at this game, what do you see Southern versus McNeese State? They let one get by.
Yeah, man, that's one that stings for a while. That's one that carries over, even if it is week 1. But whenever you face an in-state opponent at that, one that you've never beaten, you always want to get that extra, that win, that momentum boost that can carry you on through the season. But they just didn't get it. I mean, that game, the best way to describe that game, that was the quintessential act of we don't want this game, you take it, because neither Southern nor McNeese really seemed like they wanted it. Between the turnovers, and not just the turnovers, but they all happened like deep in their own field. Like Southern first touchdown, that was off of McNeese fumble that set Southern up with like just outside the red zone. And then we all know about the special teams blunders in the fourth quarter. The blocked field goal that we thought was blocked, but no, it just bounced off the offensive lineman's back and rolled 40 yards. The punt that went over the punter's head. Yeah, it was just a lot of bad football, and it just so happened that to be that Southern made the worst mistakes, the worst decisions in the end, because like I said on TV after the game that night, that Southern had zero business losing that game. I mean, they got the lead early, and they defense is just flat balling. I mean, like you said, McNeese did the quarterback change. They couldn't really do a long drive, and when they got close in field goal range, they never took the points. So Southern really had momentum for just about 3 quarters, and then you got the fourth quarter from hell, as I call it. Everything just went completely wrong, and this is some things that Southern has had issues with in the past. A lot of times they get inside their own head, and they are their own worst enemy. And we saw a lot of that last week in Lake Charles. So, yeah, that one stung. And the silver lining is, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter because it's a non-conference game. The things that really matter is when we get late in the season in SWAC competition. But, yeah, that one was tough to take on your Jags.
Kevin, you got a second to hang on with me through a break?
Yes.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side, then we'll look ahead to today's matchup against Savannah State and talk about keys to victory for Southern University. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White. And what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
For the first time in the 79-year history of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Elite Championship game determines the overall champion today. Live from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, it's the champions of the East, Jackson State, taking on Southern, the champs from the West. Hello, everybody. George Johnson along with Charles Mann. And I got to tell you, a great poet once said this is the way it's supposed to be. And it is. Number 11 Southern taking on number 15 Jackson State. Both programs have won 3 SWAC titles over the decade. So it's only fitting in the first SWAC championship game we determine the program of the decade. We've got a lot of offense out on the field. And yet this guy right here, he's going to tell you this game's all about D.
It's always all about D, George. You know that. Always all about D.
An all-pro defensive end is going to tell you that. When you think about Jackson State, this is a team that is very potent offensively, but defensively they've led the SWAC throughout most of the year, and they've got the best player in defense in the SWAC, and that's Tommy Head.
Tommy Head. Get used to saying that name. You'll say it all day. He'll be all over the field. He's always around the football. He's the leading tackler on this team. He also has 5.5 sacks.
At one point this year, Southern led the nation in scoring defense. Then they ran into Florida A&M. They've got a lot of guys out there that can get it done, but at the top of the list is DeMarcus Miller.
DeMarcus Miller, the linebacker coach, Terrence Graves, told me there's one word to describe this kid, and that is relentless. He's only 5'10", 285 pounds. He makes a lot of plays, though.
Relentless, appropriate word for our third member of the broadcast team, and that's Joe Clare, who's standing by down on the sideline. Joe?
Yes, indeed. I'm down here on the field capturing all the pageantry and revelry that is black college football. Birmingham, Alabama is a lovely city. This is the inaugural SWAC championship in their city, so they came out to have a good time. I will be covering the bands, the cheerleaders, shout-outs, all of that kind of stuff. Back to you guys up top.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. You know, earlier this year, Southern beat Jackson State, the 4th straight win over the Tigers. But what's most impressive about Southern, they haven't lost a conference game in 25 outings. They put it on the line against Jackson State.
We look at the starting lineups brought to you by Western Union Money Transfer, the fastest way to send money worldwide. You saw the backs. Here's your offensive line. Damon Nivens is a first-team All-SWAC member. Defensively, there's your starting lineups for Jackson State's defense. Chandler, Tommy Head, Edward Reese, pretty good middle linebacker. Rashard Anderson is a professional prospect, and they say he will be in the NFL next year. There's your starting lineup. Brought to you by Western Union. Mark Washington is your quarterback. Destry Wright, the all-time leading rusher in school history, is the tailback. Jeremiah Todd is an all-SWAC selection.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Hope you are enjoying today's show because I'm enjoying giving the show to you guys. Hey, as we continue to keep things going, my man Kevin Baptiste from WAFB Sports Reporter say you resting those knees? You sound like an old man, Kevin.
Hey, bro, I'm literally still laying in the bed right now, man.
Sound like an old man talking about up and down the field on Friday. I was chasing kids all up and down the field last night, Kevin. Look, I'm not going to lie. When I got in that bed last night, I felt like you, man. I was like, I need somebody to rub on these knees, man. Listen, as we continue to keep things going today, Southern versus Savannah State for the Pete Richardson Classic, man. You look at Southern trying to rebound last week's 21-7 loss to McNeese State, a game in which I thought it was theirs. Just didn't take advantage of that 7-0 lead throughout 3 quarters. And then that last phase of football that people often overlook, special teams, which is crucial, and special teams cost them the game last week. Now they have to recoup, get back on track. You pay Savannah State for these types of games to get back on track. But nonetheless, as we've seen, these Division II teams sometimes you cannot overlook. When you look at today's ball game, Coach Graves this is his first test of adversity as a head coach to get his team back on track for the Pete Richardson Classic. You look at this team coming into this game, Kevin. What are your keys to victory for Southern coming to today?
Well, let's start with the offense. I mean, it's quite simple. I mean, after the showing they had in week 1, I mean, only scoring 7 points and not really putting up that much yards. I mean, you got to come out against an inferior team and come out and score a lot of points. I mean, people still have a lot of bad taste in their mouth from seeing that game, and I'm pretty sure they know the offense all throughout the week. We talked to Noah Bowden and Dupree Fuller, just 2 of the guys on the offense. And it was like, yeah, we got to get this taste out of our mouth. We got to come out, even though that they're playing a Division II team. I mean, they don't really care who the opponent is. They just have to come out and score a lot of points, score yards, put on a show. And, you know, you can't go outside in the home opener in the Pete Richardson Classic. So that's really the main key. I mean, defensively, I mean, just keep doing what they was doing last week. And special teams, yeah, as you mentioned, another key component of the game. Make your field goals and don't have all those errors that they were having.
Let me ask you this, and this is an honest conversation to have with somebody. Looking at the play call, Coach Mark Frederick in his first year at Southern University as the offensive coordinator, what would you grade it? And I'm putting you on the spot from an A to an F. You the sports guy, so you know football when you see it. Where do you grade that play calling for you and what you saw at McNeese?
Yeah, you up me on the spot. I've never really graded the play calling from a. Let me see here. I mean, it wasn't good. I wasn't impressed. So I guess I'll say C minus.
A D minus. And
no, I say C minus. Oh. C minus maybe.
Okay, he passed.
I mean, I guess. I mean, C's get degrees. C's get degrees. I mean, there were plays that were there. I mean, they didn't take many deep targets down the field. I mean, the run game couldn't get going. But looking back at it, there were some plays that were there. And Noah just made some bad decision making. Like, well, I remember one play specifically in the fourth quarter. He had Quay Davis was wide open on like a post, you know, going to his right. Like there was like nobody within 10 yards of Quay Davis, and Noah just missed him. I did like the involvement of the tight ends. I will say that.
Yeah.
I saw more involvement from Southern's tight ends in that one game than probably all of the last 2 years combined.
Which I think why you see Ethan Howard back all of a sudden, right?
Exactly. And I can't wait for him to get up to speed because he had a monster freshman year in both the spring and the fall season. And
you look at Noah Biden, there were plays left out there. What do you like to see in his game? Let's first say, what do you like in his game? And then second, what do you like to see him get better in his game?
What I like in Noah's game?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that he's a risk taker. I like that. I like gunslingers. I mean, he's not afraid to make those throws. I mean, you don't want your quarterback throwing interceptions, but I mean, you know, you'll live and die with him taking the chance. So that's one thing I like about him. At the same time, if you're going to do that, you can't do it too much. And that's one thing that Coach Graves said at his press on Tuesday. He felt Noah was pressing a lot. On that interception specifically, it's like, guys, you cannot throw a pass in the corner of the end zone when your receiver is double covered. Mm-hmm. And you could basically say he was triple covered because there were two McNeese defenders around him, and his target was like right there on the boundary. So I mean, he really didn't have any room to go. So that's one thing. And then I need to see some more running from Noah. I mean, I get it. He's a tall guy. He probably he's not the dual threat. But dude, if nothing's down there and you see you got all this open green grass in front of you, take off and run. And I remember that was another play I think early in the game where Coach Graves really went off on him. He was like, run, like dude, you could have picked up the first down and we could have still been on the field. So that's one thing I need to see with Noah. But again, that was his, not making any excuses, but that was his second collegiate start, and I feel like he still is getting up to speed himself.
Let's look at the offensive line, right? Southern under 100 yards rushing. You couldn't have told me this a few years ago when you talking about running the ball. Southern knew how to run the ball, but of course I have to get with the times. We have evolved from being that, but now trying to get back to that. Mark Fredericks is the running back coach. You look at Southern under 100 rushing yards in this game, but no doubt about it, perhaps the most talented running back room in the conference when you factor in Kendrick Grimes, Kobe Dillon. Coach said Kendrick Grimes was suspended for the first quarter of this ball game, so you get Kobe Dillon, but both these guys couldn't quite get it going. What do you equate that to? Was it them, or would you say offensive line?
I would say offensive line. I mean, really, the gaps in the holes, they weren't there. I mean, if I recall, I don't think Southern really had a run over 10 yards. I mean, if my memory serves right, I mean, there was just really nothing to go off of. And then, I mean, like you mentioned Kendrick Grimes, I was shocked by that because I was wondering why he didn't keep running the first quarter. But then we got the reasoning. And I mean, Kobe, I mean, he's fully healthy from that injury, but still, I mean, he's not the starter. So I feel like he's still, trying to get his mojo back. I was glad to see Barry Remo score the first touchdown of the year. That was not on my bingo card. The freshman. Hey, Pete,
I don't think it was on anybody. It was like, who is this kid, man?
Hey, the freshman running back scored on a fullback dive. I'm like, what?
That's some old school football for you there.
That's old school right there. But yeah, it was a lot of running back rotations. I mean, they had at least about 4 guys get carries. But as you noticed, nobody really broke off a big run. So I equate that to the offensive line. I will give the O-line they do in pass protection. I mean, they were better than I expected, and if they can improve on that a little bit more, they'll go places. But yeah, they have to get that run game going. Because I feel like that's going to be their bread and butter. They will run to set up the pass this year.
You talking about the run game. You said the longest run. Believe it or not, the 2 longest runs of the game for Southern University came by way of quarterback Noah Biden. Coach told him to run. He had the longest run for Southern, 11 yards. And then you look on the other side, T-Set came into the game. He had the second longest run of the game, 10 yards. The longest run for Dillon or Rhymes for Dillon was 8 yards, for Rhymes 9 yards. 14 carries, 51 yards rushing for Kobe Dillon, 11 carries for 31 yards. For Kendrick Grimes, Kevin.
Yeah, that's just not going to cut it. Yeah. Unless you run a system like the Baltimore Ravens, all this pistol and all that stuff. You got Lamar Jackson, or the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. Other than that, yeah, your quarterback should not be, your leading rusher in any category. So yeah, they need to get that right. So hopefully that is probably the main thing I want to see. I'm looking forward to at this game today. See how they can really establish that run game and try to put Savannah State away early. I know, games like this, when you play these D2 schools, like I say, they're going to say they respect every opponent as they should. They don't take them lightly. But, you're playing a D2 school. You want to put the pedal to the metal, get a big lead early, and put some backups in late in the second half.
We talk so much. We've been talking about the running backs. We've been talking about the quarterback, and we also have been talking about the offensive line. But you know what? We ain't said nothing about the receivers. These receivers, for me, that Southern have not proved it to me yet, Kevin. And, I mean, I'm looking for that, as they say, that dog, but I haven't seen it. And it was game 1, right? But still, even coming out of last year, I know we had the issues with Harold Blood and the play call and the Dooley, but just for me, Kevin, I haven't seen a solid receiving core at Southern in quite some time, and that's just my honest opinion.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, whenever you brought receivers, I was like, I don't know what to say. I mean, they didn't really do much last week. I mean, they tried to force feed Chandler Whitfield at times across the middle. I mean, I remember he had that one drop. Well, I feel like if he would have caught a slant route, he could have turned it up for at least about 30 more yards. But, I mean, yeah, I guess. And then they got a lot of new guys. I mean, Quay Davis, I mean, working him in. I mean, Darren Morris, we keep bringing up his name as, he has that 50-50 ball potential, but, I mean, there wasn't really any opportunity. And that's one thing I would like them for Southern to do more when they get inside the 10. I mean, you got these long-range receivers. Hey, bro, just get them one-on-one on the outside and just throw it up, all right? Who's the better man? Who can jump the highest? But no, Perry, I agree. I mean, as far as dominant receiver at Southern, I can't tell you the last time. But again, I feel like I don't know if we're gonna get it this year with the receivers because they look like they're going to be a running football team, and that's going to set up the play action with all these these short routes, these intermediate routes with the tight ends. So I don't know if the receivers are going to eat that much this year either.
And if that's the case, I will live with the tight end all day. I promise you, I will live with the tight end all day. Hey, Kevin, I got to go take a break, man. I appreciate you for coming on this morning, man. Tell the people where they can find you at.
Oh, you can find me on all my social media pages, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, at KBaptiste Jr. We post a lot of content on WAFB.com/sports. And obviously, y'all can catch me today on the Bluff. I will be out there, obviously, to cover the game. I might walk around the scene a little bit. If you see me, do not hesitate to say hello. And I'm always down to chat and talk some football.
Ice those knees down, Kevin. We got a long night tonight.
Oh, yeah, we here. I'll see you out there.
All right, man. That's my man, Kevin Baptiste, WFB. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on. Let's get ready to take a break. Come back on the other side. We'll get ready to close this thing out. Stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
Watching the Southern University Human Jukebox. Click here to watch more videos, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal. All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I want to thank my man Kevin Baptiste coming on, talking to me from WAFB, recapping last week's game and talking about today's big game versus Savannah State. And my man Joshua Sims Jr., HBCU Nightly, as well as my man Stephen Gaither of HBCU Game Day. And, of course, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Coach Pete Richardson, coming on and taking a moment of his time this morning to talk to us about today's very game in which it holds his name, the Pete Richardson Classic. I want to thank him for coming on and talking with us as well. Hey, I'm giving away tickets this morning. I got somebody on the line. Who we got online too? Good morning.
You got Leslie. Good morning.
Good morning, Leslie. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. And you?
I'm doing well. I take it you're trying to go to the Pete Richardson Classic today?
Yes, I am.
Well, guess what? You are going, Miss Leslie. I'm going to hook you up and get you some tickets to the Southern University versus Savannah State game. You stay on the line, Miss Leslie, and I'm going to make sure I get you hooked up. Hey, you want to shout out anybody while you online? You got the whole city listening. Who you want to shout out?
I just want to shout out to the Jaguar Nation. Hey, Jaguar Nation.
That's what I like right there, Leslie. It's game day, baby. Thank you, Leslie. Hold on right quick. Let's get you on. Hold on. Let's go to the next call. We got somebody else on there. We got somebody on line 3. Good morning.
Good morning, Perry.
Good morning. Who we have?
Joe Bowie.
Joe Bowie, good morning, Joe. Let me guess. You trying to go to the Pete Richardson Classic today?
I am.
Guess what, Joe? You going to the Pete Richardson Classic today, man. I'm going to hook you up and get you straight, man. You want to shout out anybody out there?
I just want to say good morning to the Jaguar Nation.
I love that, Joe. How long you been a Southern University fan?
Oh, man, all my life, man. Grew up with it.
That's what I like, man. And we're going to keep this thing going, man. Joe, I'm hooking you up. You going to the Southern game today, man. I'm going to get you some tickets to the game, man. You hold on real quick, man. I'm going to put you on hold, man. Joe, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
All right, we got somebody else. Who we got? Good morning.
Good morning. Is this am I on? It's Chuck.
Chuck, what's up?
All right. I'm not going to be down there for the game, but congratulations to those winners. You all have fun and be safe. And but I was calling. I'm one person that called in that attended McNeese State back in the 90s, back when they were a powerhouse. You know, you always say, you know, whatever school it is, you say such and such not going to be walking through those doors like you all probably say at Southern. You just that was a great interview you did with Coach Richardson. He wouldn't be walking through those doors. And you know, Eric Randall. I came to the era of Eric Randall. You had him at Southern. Out at McNeese, the time of Kerry Joseph, who's now quarterbacks coach of the Chicago Bears, coaching Caleb Williams, and then with the Buffalo Bills, he was wide receivers at McNeese. He's now Bills wide receivers coach is Adam Henry. You're not going to have them walking through those doors, and it goes for both sides. You have to you're in a new day and time, and it's going to take some time to try to get these programs back together. You know, that's from yesteryear, but now you have different kind of players, and you have a different landscape of college athletics. I'm going to land on that one.
All right, thank you, Chuck, man. Hope you have a good day, man.
Same to you all. You all take care and be safe.
All right. Hey, as we continue to keep things going this morning, man, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's show. Congratulations to Leslie and Joe. They headed to the Southern University versus Savannah State game today, Pete Richardson Classic. I love when we get the Southern, the Jag. When they didn't shout out, they said, I want to shout out the Jaguar Nation. That's what I love because at the end of the day, that's what we embody. That's what this is all about. This is why we've been one of the top teams in terms of attendance in FCS football for over 40 years, right? The Jaguar Nation are the epitome of what I love to call a great and humble and true fan base. But we got to get back. Look, I've seen some dips in it. We got to get back to it. And because we got to get back to it, if you hear my voice out there and you within, as Coach Odoms used to say, a tank of gas, you better be – see, I almost went there. Did you see where I was finna rhyme? I was rhyming for a second. You better have your at A.W. Mumford Stadium today. Look, I get a little poetic every now and again. I almost got poetic with y'all right there. But, hey, come on over to A.W. Mumford Stadium. Let's show some love to Coach Pete Richardson. It is his classic. We're playing Savannah State. Next week, Jackson State, right? We got to cheer these boys on. We got to get them together. We got to show them love and support. I know it was tough last week over at McNeese State, right? It was tough. But we got to get back on track today, and getting back on track means taking care of home. We always talk about what we do when we go somewhere else. It starts right here at home, right? You have to take care of what you have here at home. We can't depend on nobody else saying, well, why we don't play this team or that team, and they don't bring no fans. I don't give a all right? I don't care. See, I'm getting poetic again. I don't care about other people's fans. I care about our fans. We got enough people in the Baton Rouge region in order to be able to take care of home, and that means taking care of home means buying tickets. Buying tickets and being sure to show up and show out. And not just sit in your seats, man. I was sitting there last week, and I'm sure a lot of people heard me yelling. Y'all sitting there looking all nice and cute and just watching it. Man, why y'all don't stand up no more? When you hear that bass drum beating saying defense, what you doing sitting down? That bass drum beating mean get up and yell defense. It don't mean just sit there and look. I yelled at everybody who was around me. I couldn't have been the only one. Y'all knew, anybody around knew I was yelling. When I said I wanted a touchdown, come on, man, what y'all doing? Have we gotten to the point to where it comes to football, we too good to cheer? Is it considered lame to get up and cheer and be a part of the game when your team needs you? That's the part I don't understand. A.W. Mumford Stadium is a tough place for opponents to come. But yet we sit there and we just there as though it's I don't know what y'all doing. Now, it ain't everybody. I'm not yelling at everybody. Some of y'all do. Y'all like Perry White. Y'all get up. You are passionate and you are involved in the game. I'm very involved in the game. I would lose my voice over a football game. But come on, man. Y'all got to stand up and cheer. You hear that bass drum, you get up. That's defense, Jags. That means the defense needs your help. That means cheer, yell. Don't wait just for a touchdown. You got to be engaged in the ball game from the first quarter through the fourth quarter. Now, I go to them other people game, they don't even sit down. But yet y'all sitting down, just looking around, just want to be all cute and just, hey, how you doing? Hey, how y'all doing over there? Good to see y'all this year. You know, yeah, season ticket holder since 98. Season ticket holder since 86. Oh, yeah, how y'all doing? Man, get up out your seat and cheer these guys to victory. Stop sitting down. That's Jaguar Nation. It's more than just showing up to a game. It's engaging in a game. It's being a part of the game. It's cheering your team on beyond just a dang on touchdown. That's what I'm asking for. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask for the football team? Get up. Be engaged. You ain't too good. Even the people up in the box, I'm talking to you too. I've been up there. Look, they act like the game ain't even going on sometime up there. You got to go remind them, hey, y'all not watching the game. Oh, man, let's go. It's week 2. It's college football, man. Y'all just hearing the passion in me. Y'all see I got my jersey. If you're watching, I got my jersey on right now. I got my jersey on. I got my Southern hat on. Mike telling me a break. Mike, I'm in my bag. I got another hour in me, Mike. But I'm going to follow the rules. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Pete Richardson Classic, Southern versus Savannah State. Big game today. It will be broadcast on HBCU Go TV. So if you're not able to attend the game live today, shout out to Leslie and Joe. Guess what? They going to the game. I'm going to make sure I hook them up to go to the game. The rest of y'all, get your tickets and get in that stadium, all right? Get your tickets and get into that stadium and support these teams as these guys get this victory and try to get it to head over into Jackson State next week. Man, I love y'all. I want to thank Joshua Sims Jr. at HBCU Nightly coming on talking to me. My man Stephen Gaither coming on from HBCU Game Day. Coach Pete Richardson, love him to death. Thank him for taking the time for talking to us in the Jaguar Nation. And my man Kevin Baptiste from WAFB. And for the rest of y'all, man, look, I love y'all, man. I'm just trying to hype y'all up and fire you up because it's game day and it is here, week 2 college football. Hey, be sure to go hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel and hit that follow button on our Facebook, man. I'd love to have you guys support. It costs nothing to support. And we always talk about supporting black. I'm black. Support me. At a HBCU of all that, man. Come on, y'all. Let's show some love and go support Southern University and get your tickets today. And for everybody else that's out there listening, even if you're white, hey, I'd love to have your support too, okay? All right, let me get up out of here. I'll be back next week at the same time in the same place because always, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Jaguar Journal. Be safe. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.